long time ago, in a land far, far away, beyond the northern wastes of St. Hugh's, lay the ancient, cruel empire of Injustia. Now Injustia was a land ruled by tabs, where families quarrelled, rich enslaved poor, bullies ran the school playground, and tutors picked on innocent freshers. It was a bleak place where the weak were silenced, and injustices were always overlooked and ignored. It seemed that there was no hope for the weak, no one to stand with the innocent, no one to speak up for those without a voice. Until one day, and no one really knows how it started, but people began to hear rumours. Rumours, just whispers of hope. The rulers tried to silence them, but to no avail. Then some claimed that they'd seen things. Stories were shared, mixed images, just shadows. They spoke of whiskers, empty avocado skins, and a long, flowing cape. People started to get excited. Some even started to talk openly about what had previously just been a dream, an impossible hope. The authorities were panicking. What were they to do? Who was responsible for this? They soon realised, to their dismay, there was only one possible culprit: the ADVOCAT.
Meow!
Yes, that's right, the fearsome ADVOCAT, with his unmatchable advocado grenades and terrifying advocape. This supercat was every oppressor's worst nightmare. As he chose to stand with the victims of bullying, poverty and unfairness, things began to change in Injustia. Injustia and its advocat may be imaginary, but the fact is that globally, millions of victims of social, political and economic injustice do not have an advocate to stand up for their rights and to speak for them. Proverbs 31 verses 8 to 9 say, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the rights of those who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly, defend the rights of the poor and needy." An advocate is someone who stands with those in need, someone who speaks on the behalf of those who do not have a voice, someone who speaks for those who cannot save themselves. This is why Jesus in 1 John is described as our advocate to the Father. We were dead in sin and unable to save ourselves, but he has a voice and an access to the Father. Jesus can speak instead of us and on our behalf. Being a Christian means recognising that we are in need of an advocate, but following God also means knowing when we need to be an advocate for others, when we are required to be a voice for the voiceless. The most famous advocate in the Old Testament is probably Moses. God asks him to advocate for his people, the enslaved Israelites, to Pharaoh, demanding their freedom. It's a well-known story, but it's easy to forget that initially Moses really wasn't keen on his task, even though he was one of two who stood with Jesus at the Transfiguration. Advocacy scared Moses. He made Aaron do all the public speaking, saying, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" But God had greater plans. He uses Moses, his freedom and his voice, his access to Pharaoh that the Israelites didn't have, and uses this to set God's people free. As with Moses, I believe that we as Oxford students in an advanced democracy have a voice that we're often unwilling rather than unable to use. So this week, let's stand with the oppressed and think about how we can be advocates for their cause. This will be different for each of us. God might be calling you to advocate for a living wage in your college. Or he might be asking you to devote your career to fighting human trafficking through advocacy. I challenge you to spend some time with God this week and ask him where you can be an advocate, how you can use your freedom and abilities to stand with the oppressed. And at Just Love, we'd love to support you in this, so do check out our Facebook page and emails for information on our own advocacy campaigns, or get in touch if you'd like to start.